episode 1 of Beyond the Barbell. So I'm joined on the first episode of Beyond the Barbell with Coach Martha Cook, and I'm honoured for you to be my first guest.
Thank you.
And I came to know you about this time last year at Elevate in DIP when you were launching your Empower Her program, and some words that you said that really stuck with me were control the controllables. So I just want you to tell us your story. You know, you were a CrossFit athlete and the things you've had to overcome.
Yeah, so I started CrossFit in about 2018 and I actually just kind of fell into it by accident. And then after going to my local gym and kind of getting into doing my own program, I kind of like bypassed classes a little bit. Don't recommend that. But it kind of got me into the competitive space quite quickly. So it's been a benefit in a way because I have managed to get all the skills and the strength faster than if I was just doing classes. But then I didn't get that kind of social, friendly, competitive aspect of it either. So it was a kind of bittersweet way to start. And then eventually I opened my own gym. And then from there, just started to take it a little bit more seriously, like qualified for Europe semis twice, ended up going to the CrossFit Games on a team in 2022, which was like a really, really cool experience. Like my goal was always to get to the games, whether it was team or individual. And then luckily we managed to do it after moving to the UAE and then finding our team here. And then after that, I kind of did a few individual comps. I was never really like a big individual athlete. I much prefer the team stuff, like it's way more fun. So we actually qualified for Wadapalooza in a team of 3. So I went to Wadapalooza and then unfortunately I became really sick. So it was just like flu. I'm convinced it was COVID. And then kind of after that, it was just like a trickle of events that eventually led to me having to have surgery and having both of my first ribs removed. And that was kind of 2023, 2024. And I guess that kind of like shone a different light on competing for me in CrossFit. Like I still love CrossFit and I still definitely have like the competitiveness in me. But it kind of opened my eyes to what there is outside of CrossFit because it got taken away from me so quickly and so unexpectedly. It was trying to find something to fill that space that obviously took up so much of my time. Like I was doing it for 3-4 hours a day, if not longer sometimes. I was in the gym constantly and then all of a sudden I can't even do a back squat. Like I can't run. I have to just sit on the C2 bike and that's it. So yeah, it kind of made me appreciate things a little bit more. And then kind of getting back into it after everything that kind of went on, it just made me enjoy it a lot more rather than putting that extra pressure on to compete or to get certain movements or to get to a certain level. It was like, I appreciate just being able to train again and being able to do all of the movements that I couldn't do for such a long time.
Do you mind going into what your condition actually was, because it's really rare?
Yeah, so it was a really rare condition. It actually took them 6 months to diagnose it. But basically it was called thoracic outlet syndrome or Paget-Schroeder syndrome. So essentially my first rib and my collarbone were compressing on my vein, which was allowing the blood to go into my arm, but it wasn't allowing the blood to come back out. So my arm was swelling up to like twice the size of my other one. And it kind of got worse during exercise. They don't really know what causes it, but it's quite common in athletes who do like a lot of upper body, so swimmers, tennis players, obviously CrossFit. But I think just the sheer amount of upper body volume that we do in terms of barbell, gymnastics, that kind of thing, and the predisposition that my torso is quite short, and because I'm hypermobile, the muscle mass in that area is a lot more than the average person. So I think the combination of kind of everything going on resulted in the condition. And then the only way that they could cure it is basically removing my first rib. So they went in under my armpit. My doctor was amazing. He like researched CrossFit, looked at the movements that I was doing and was like, right, this is the best way to go in and remove it. So they did that one first. And then they were like, we'll just keep an eye on the other arm because we think it could happen on the other side. So they gave me a test to do to keep checking. And then eventually, like, the test was becoming positive, and they were like, you're going to have the surgery on the other side as well. So it was quite an intense surgery. Like, obviously, they're removing your first rib, so there's a lot of anatomical changes that you kind of have to get used to. But now I wouldn't even know that I've not got my first ribs, like not at all.
When you were injured and you had to take time off from competing and from training, did you feel any guilt? Like, did that come with any guilt from training every day to going to nothing?
It was really hard to be okay with it, I think, because I just qualified for like Wodapalooza, and then literally after that I've gone from being where I believe was like the top of my career, if you like, and then to just be able to just sit on the C2 bike and not do anything else. It was really challenging, but because they were unsure what it was, I feel like my brain was so consumed with just trying to find out the diagnosis that because I was I think I went to 9 different hospitals and saw 15 different doctors. So my time was so consumed with trying to get this diagnosis that I didn't really have time for it to like settle in and me be like, okay, this is my new reality now. And then eventually it got to the point where I just broke down, and I remember I just cried all day, and then Michael came home and gave me chocolate, and then I cried more. But like once I'd kind of got that out of my system, I was like, right, now we need to go. I need to get this sorted. I need to have the surgery that I need. I need to find a doctor that can do it. I need to see if I can get it on insurance. Like there was so much more taking up my brain capacity that I couldn't just sit and wallow. And it was probably more the second surgery that I found hard, because I just got back to where I was. And then I knew I was going to then have to take all those steps backwards. I didn't know how hard it was going to be from the second surgery. But again, it was like you have to make a list of the things you can do, not the list of the things you can't. Because the list of things you can't will always look big, but the ones that you can build. And then it's like a sense of achievement. Every time you add another movement onto your list, you're like, okay, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. And then you end up just, before you know it, you're back to doing everything, but you're not worrying about it, and you haven't got that negative mindset of, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. I'd be lying if I said my confidence hadn't completely come back. Like, I still definitely struggle with certain things, but I think that I was so lucky after the first surgery. The recovery was so smooth, the surgery went so well, and within 6 months I was back to like snatching 80 kilos and clean and jerking, and it was absolutely fine. But then unfortunately I had the condition on the other side as well, so then I had to go in for surgery on the other side, and the recovery for that one was a lot harder. I had some nerve damage afterwards, and the recovery time for nerves is a lot longer than like muscular or anything like that, or scar tissue. So I ended up just having to take my time a little bit more. I think in total it took maybe like 9 or 10 months after that one. And in terms of my confidence now, like I know in myself that I am the strongest, I'm probably the fittest, my gymnastics is the best it's ever been. But I'm still petrified of the thought of going on a leaderboard and not being where I used to be. Even though I know personally I'm better, I think because of everything that I've gone through over the past few years, it's just such a fear of mine now. That actually, like, I did the Open this year, and I did the first workout and surprised myself and loved it. And then after that, the next 2 workouts, I was just in my head the whole time. And like I said, although I love competing, I think it's made me realise that actually individual stuff isn't for me anymore. And I love the team stuff, and I'll still do the team stuff, but individual, it just doesn't bring that same enjoyment that it used to.
Do you see yourself ever getting back to that? I mean, you're still super young, but of course there's masters divisions, etc.
Potentially, yeah. I think I'd kind of see what's going on. Like, we've got a potential team ready for World Fitness Project at the end of the year, so that's really exciting. And I think it just is very dependent on the group of people that come together. Individual, I know I'm not going to do it, like full stop. It's not going to be good for me, and personally it's not where I find that enjoyment and I love in CrossFit. But with the team stuff, like if good competitions come up, if a good team opportunity comes up, like by all means, like I definitely give it a go.
How do you find balancing being an athlete yourself and coaching? Because obviously you're coaching multiple classes, you have PTs. How do you find that balance?
A lot of early mornings. So as well as like being an athlete, doing my PTs, doing classes, I'm also doing my law degree. So it's trying to fit everything in. So I've just got to be really strict with my timing. If I'm working at 8:30 in the morning, got to make sure that I'm in the gym by 6 o'clock. So I've got my 2.5 hours to train and shower and eat. Do my classes. From there, I'll study through the afternoon and then come and do my PTs in the evening. So luckily, Elevate, their schedule's really good and it really works with me and my kind of other roles that I have. But yeah, it's just discipline. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
And you've been to the CrossFit Games as a team. How was that experience for you as a whole? I feel that's the end goal for every CrossFit athlete.
Yeah. It was incredible. I think not just the games itself, but like the whole process of getting there, of going through the Open together, going through quarters together, then eventually going to Korea and having to travel there as a team and compete there. And I feel like although the games was amazing, the qualifying process of when we were in Korea and then we realised that we'd qualified was incredible. It was so good. And then going to the games, it was kind of like, just make sure you take in those moments, because I think it was the last year in Madison. So when you're walking out into the Coliseum or you're walking out onto the turf into the stadium, and it's just, you need to kind of like take that minute to take it in and be like, okay, we've actually made it. And it was a really cool experience. Unfortunately, one of our teammates broke his hand I believe it was on the first day, doing the pig flips. But we managed to finish the workout and we actually got through another 2 or 3 days before he had to withdraw. So we didn't get to experience it fully, but it was just incredible. Like going through the athlete booth where you have to collect all your bags and you collect all your clothing and all your shoes, like you're kind of mesmerised that you're getting all this stuff and you're like, is it going to fit in my suitcase? But it was incredible, and it was something that I'll never forget.
I feel like that's every person who does CrossFit, that's their dream. You know, you watch it on Instagram and you see people like in the changing rooms collecting their stuff, and like that's what everyone wants.
Yeah, they just want to get there for that. And then the competition they can deal with later. They just want the free stuff. But yeah, it gives you memories as well. Like you've got all of this kit, and even though we're on a team, everybody had their own individual number. So on all of your kit is your own individual number, which just makes it a little bit more personal.
Obviously, I came to know you at your Empower Her launch, Elevate DIP. So just explain a little bit about that programming and what made you think of it.
So Elevate brought me on board to basically bring their Empower program to life. So Empower program is a program for women designed by women, myself, but the main target is mums. So either those who are expecting, those who have recently given birth, those whose children are a little bit older, and just really women in general who feel like they lack a little bit of confidence coming into the gym. They lack a bit of direction. The thought of doing CrossFit is quite scary to them in the regular classes. So we just bring them into an environment which is a lot more comfortable, something that they can relate to the other people with, like they're all kind of in the same boat. And also it's a place for the children to come together and they get to watch their mums do all this cool stuff on the rig. They get to see their mums do these heavy lifts and working with barbells. And then these children also grow up together. So we have like a lady who brought her child and she was 8 weeks, I think, when she first came, and now she's 1. So it's just seeing them progress as parents, but also as women themselves, and just giving them that space where they know that their child is looked after, but then they know that they're being looked after as well by having that 1 hour for themselves.
Do you think that that's important? Obviously, community and fitness come hand in hand, but do you think that community is really one of the biggest highlights of fitness industry?
Oh, massively. Like the gym that I work at in Dubai, the community, I've never experienced anything like it, to be honest. Like we had the Open and we had 80 people come and do the Open over one afternoon, and we did that for the whole 3 weeks. I remember there was this one where one of the girls got their first ring muscle up, or a ring muscle up in the workout. The whole gym erupted. Like I had goosebumps on my skin, and it's just the encouragement and like the community aspect there, where you just feel part of something much bigger than just a fitness class, is massive. And especially for like the mums that come into my class, like they're going through such a difficult stage of life where they've been through pregnancy as one, but then they're also adapting to a new lifestyle with looking after a child. Like, they need that community aspect to lean on one another and to learn how to kind of navigate their way through this new lifestyle. So again, like when they're struggling and they're sleep deprived, like the other mums will come in and lift them up and give them that support that they need to keep going, which again, unless they had that class, I think they'd struggle to find that outside of the gym.
So this has been an amazing first episode. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to end it with, what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
I think just appreciate the small things, because I think we're always so tied up with the bigger picture and like the end goal that we kind of forget the mini wins in the process, and I feel like they're so underrated because those mini wins are what get you to where you want to be, and if they're not appreciated, you're just going to get there and feel unfulfilled. So yeah, make the best of the small things and appreciate the small things, and then the big things will seem even better.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.